The Karmelo Anthony community is back at it again. They have found a new hero to rally around, and just like with the Karmelo Anthony case, once again they are spreading lies, spreading misinformation, trying to muddy the waters and trying to mislead people. Now, chances are you have already heard about the Rodney Hinton Jr. case. A kid by the name of Ryan Hinton was recently killed by the police after riding around in a stolen car and running from the police and possibly even aiming a firearm at them. We do know for a fact that he did have a firearm on him. Now, after that incident, Ryan Hinton's father went and purposely mowed down a retired cop that had nothing to do with the situation. And ever since then, Karmelo's biggest supporters have forgotten about him, and now they are all on the nuts of Rodney Hinton Jr. They are calling him a legend. They are calling him a hero. And the lies that they are spreading are just ridiculous. At first, they tried to lie and claim that the officer that he ran over was the officer that killed his son, when in reality that is not the case at all. He went and found the most vulnerable target he could find, a cop that had already retired, that was just working a little extra, doing special work like cross guard duty and directing traffic at the graduation where he was ran over at. Now, after spreading that lie, they quickly tried to say that Rodney Hinton Jr. did nothing wrong and he has no prior arrest. He has no criminal record. He was a good model citizen. They're literally calling him Father of the Year. I kid you not. And they're claiming that he just was this model citizen, this great guy that never did anything wrong ever. Well, turns out the guy has a rap sheet, has been violent to people in the past, and of course now we know that he ran over an innocent police officer that had nothing to do with his son's death. So even if he didn't have a criminal record, that wouldn't change anything because he's definitely a criminal now. But it's just another one of those lies that they tell to cover up the truth, to try to make their little the murderers heroes into some sort of saint, right? They always try to act like they're the greatest person on earth when usually they are very, very horrible people. And now they have upgraded to telling one of the most outlandish lies that you could think of. Now they are claiming that Rodney Hinton Jr. wasn't even driving the car. They're claiming that someone else was driving the car and they set up Rodney Hinton Jr. They're claiming that it's someone else drove the car and ran over the cop. It wasn't Rodney. They're setting Rodney up. And most of the people spreading this nonsense, they don't even believe it themselves, but they will do anything imaginable to avoid accountability, right? They do not like seeing any black person held accountable for any of the crimes they commit. And if they have to make up imaginary people to throw in the scenario to blame the crimes on, they will. So now, instead of just saying, hey, it's wrong for Rodney Hinton Jr. to run over an innocent police officer, instead of just simply acknowledging that, now they are creating fake theories about, oh man, it must have been some white woman driving the car, setting them up, man, we just don't know yet. So yeah, things are getting insane. But guess what? As the misinformation spreads, places like this channel, we have the facts over here. And they just had a press conference earlier today announcing the charges against Rodney Hinton Jr. And guess what? This has Karmelo Anthony supporters in shambles, but the death penalty is on the table. And if you ask me, they're probably going to throw it at him. And I don't see no reason why not after what he did. But I want to go ahead and play this press conference for you so you can, listen to the details about how this whole situation played out. The details are kind of gruesome at some points, but also, it's just nice seeing them announce the charges against him as I'm watching the internet spread all of these lies. So I want to roll this press conference really quickly, but first, if you guys support this channel, if you guys support the truth, consider liking the video, sharing the video, and commenting below. Also, if you would like to take your support one step further, you could always donate via Cash App or Super Thanks. Always greatly appreciated. But with that being said, let's go ahead and tune into this press conference, and then I'll be back with more thoughts.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for your patience in waiting. We've had a very difficult week, as you can imagine. Today we did present the case against Rodney Hinton Jr. to the grand jury. And during this press conference, I'm certainly going to describe the facts as we know them today and what led us to select the charges that we presented to the grand jury, as well as what their verdict was. So, Deputy Larry Henderson. I did reach out to Mrs. Henderson after we got the news of the grand jury. I wasn't able to reach her personally, so I unfortunately had to leave a message on her phone, and that is the most difficult message you can leave for someone on their phone. I also offer my sympathy to the Sheriff's Department and the entire law enforcement world here in this community. I know they're all grieving. I know all of you have questions about the police-involved shooting from May 1st. Our office is still investigating that, as we do in all officer-involved shootings. And so, since that review is not done, I won't be commenting on it or taking any questions on it. Nor will I be discussing the three suspects who allegedly were in the vehicle that started this chain of events. This today is about Deputy Henderson, and the visitation is going on right now, and his funeral is tomorrow, and so it's only proper and apt that we focus on the tragic death. Oh, and wait, we'll stay here. Not ready. So on May 2nd, 2025, Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson was working a traffic light. This was a detail to help manage traffic flow due to the congestion related to the commencement at the University of Cincinnati. The deputy had retired from his full-time career with the Hamilton County Sheriff. He did that a few months ago, but he still continued to serve by picking up occasional details when extra help is needed. And on May 2nd, he chose to accept a special detail to help direct traffic caused by UC's graduation. He was in uniform. He was wearing a bright traffic vest, a reflective vest. He was serving the community. But in an act of tragic proportion, his life ended. And I'm going to walk you through the series of events that led to this deputy's sad death. We can go to the next slide. All right. This is the result of the grand jury. I'm giving you this first because I know you all have deadlines. He was indicted today on 2 counts of aggravated murder. Both carry a death specification. 1 count of felony murder and 2 counts of felonious assault. Next slide, please. I'm going to go through the chain of events that led up to this tragedy. So at 9:30, I'm just going to step away and point to the map here and here. So at the bottom left of the slide, this is where Rodney Hinton Jr., along with his family, they went to the Cincinnati Police Department to meet with the chief, and the police had decided to show them the body cam footage involving the death of, pardon me, his son, Ryan Hinton. They meet with the chief there. At 9:51 a.m., Hinton, and when I say Hinton, henceforth, that means Rodney Hinton Jr., the defendant herein. Mr. Hinton was so upset, he left the building. At 10:37, so almost 50 minutes later, the family that was with him comes out of the building and they all leave in one car. Mr. Hinton left his vehicle there because he was upset. The family drives him up to Findlay Market, where they suggest he gets something to eat, and he declined. After that, they go to the home of a family member. Mr. Hinton takes a 30-minute nap. By 12:41, the family decided that they could return him to the police station, lower left part of the slide, where he can retrieve his vehicle. And at 10:44, Hinton drives out of the parking lot, but his family follows him. Hinton drives back to the police department and drives through the parking lot. His family is still following him. At 12:50, he leaves, drives up Clifton Avenue. His family is still following him. Turns onto Martin Luther King Drive. Family members still follow. There's a lot of traffic and congestion. Hinton pulls into the right lane. You're right by campus there. And at 1:05 p.m., Deputy Henderson is hit. Now we're going to walk through the last tragic seconds with the next slide. So this is a street view where you see the intersection. This is the stop line that's painted there where people have to stop. This is the unused middle lane, which up here is designated as a left turn only lane. These little plastic things are called delineators. They're just there to keep people from swerving into oncoming traffic. Here, this light pole, that's where Deputy Henderson was standing. A lot of the traffic enforcement people say that's a prime spot to stand because it has a tree for shade, and if it's hot, you get a little shade. And also, it's on a concrete triangle, so you're not in the road. So it's considered a pretty safe place to stand. And that's where he was standing. He was working a traffic light indicator to help ease congestion. And this photo does show it a little bit, but everything's on a hill near the University of Cincinnati, and this road is no different. We're looking down the hill. All right, next slide, please. So this is the aerial view, and I just want to show a couple things to you. So I pointed out this unused lane in the middle. You can see it all across Martin Luther King Drive. And you can also see if you, I think you're all going to get a packet of these, but you can see that where the left turn lane is here. And you might be able to ascertain where those plastic delineators are. So we know that Rodney Hinton turned onto Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Initially, he pulled into the right lane. The family was still behind him. Then he pulls into the left lane. And then he stopped in that center unused lane. And I'm sorry, I don't have that exact location for you. But as he moves on up, he's just waiting there. Pardon me. He waits there. There's no place to turn. There's no signal there. He's just in that unused lane. Because he was up a little bit of a hill, he was at a higher elevation, and he could look down and see what was going on in front of him, and he could see Deputy working that traffic light. At 1:05 p.m., Hinton floors the vehicle, crossing into the opposing traffic lanes, and drives directly at Deputy Henderson and hitting him. Can we have the next slide, please? Here's the left turn arrow right there. So he went through this. The family, keep in mind, is watching all this happen. It's a clear view, straight as an arrow. He never veers off course. He never slows down. He aimed his vehicle toward the place of impact. He drove around the left side of those delineators. And he hit the deputy. In addition, while he was paused in that unused center lane, there was traffic coming. He didn't make his move until the oncoming traffic had cleared, and he had an open road ahead of him. So next slide, please. This was a very sad day for our community. It's a very, very tragic situation. A law enforcement officer simply directing traffic was purposely targeted and killed because he was doing his job and because he was a law enforcement officer. It was the defendant's specific purpose to kill a law enforcement officer. And he put many other people in danger. UC was having its commencement ceremony. Just feet away from where the deputy was standing, there were students who were dressed in their caps and gowns walking to commencement. There were family members. We all know how horrible parking is in Clifton, but imagine on graduation day how much harder it is. People were parked all over the place, crossing the street to see their children graduate. Should have been one of the happiest days in these families' lives, but instead, a tragic, horrific incident happens. I'm going to ask the sheriff to say some words.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. As we speak, Larry Henderson's viewing is commencing, and we have opened it to the public. We set out time prior to 4 o'clock today to allow the to allow the deputies, the sheriff's deputies, to go and give their condolences to Larry's family. And after that, then they were going to stay, and they are staying for the viewing for Larry Henderson. Tomorrow we will lay Larry Henderson to rest. We will have a burial with full ceremony. He will be buried with full honors. Larry Henderson, during his career, I'd like to note, received a Medal of Valor for his efforts in helping and trying to help save a woman's life who was literally gunned down in front of him. What I'm asking the public to realize is this: we are all mourning someone. I understand that this is a very trying time. I understand that tempers are high. I understand that people are asking each other why. What I'm asking everyone in our community to do is to do your best to engage and talk to people, grab onto each other and mourn, do the things that you know in your grief will help you heal. But I'm asking you to please, please let justice play out in all cases. The criminal justice system is designed in such a way that we all have to participate and we all have to wait. And that's law enforcement as well. And that's exactly what we will do. We will follow those dictates, and I'm asking the public to understand that it is a very trying time for all of us. So the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department will continue to stand. We will continue to serve the public, and we will continue to do so in a fair and equitable way with transparency. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Prosecutor, I have a couple for you. The first of which, these charges carry a potential death penalty, but is that one that you will seek, and if so, why?
Look, my job is not an easy job. My job is to prosecute people who've been accused of committing crimes. I see tragedy every day. This case is absolutely one of the more tragic I've seen in my short tenure. The facts of this case meet the law that's written in Ohio that does include the death penalty. And that's why we're seeking it. Apparently the grand jury agrees.
Previous prosecutors have taken these cases up themselves and prosecuted them personally. Is that something you plan to do? And if not, who will be prosecuting it?
I have my top two criminal lawyers on this, Kate Burrows and Kip Guinan.
Have they pursued capital murder cases in the past?
Yes.
Your
Yes.
thoughts on the seeking death penalty on this case?
I think I just gave them.
This is novel. The judge that heard Hinton's
In room
case
A?
just the other day, said it was something unprecedented, something he's never seen before. Can you just comment on the nature of this case, essentially a police shooting leading to what appears to be an act of retribution? Do you see it that way? And can you comment on the unprecedented nature of this case?
I can only tell you that I've never seen someone hunted down and killed like this. And I think Judge Yates was expressing that astonishment as well, that this is something unlike we've ever seen before. We do have laws to protect the accused. We have laws to protect the families as well. And we have laws to protect everybody who's going about their business. But when we have someone who's just showing up to work, doing his job to protect and serve, and is killed for that, it's reprehensible.
Sheriff McGuffey, I do have one question for you as well, if you don't mind. Given that this case is going to be pursued as a death penalty case, what do you think of that? Multiple people from former FOP officers, things along those lines, have called for it to be pursued as a death penalty case. But what are your thoughts on the death penalty being applied here?
I stand with the prosecutor. I am the sheriff of Hamilton County. I have sworn to uphold the law, and the prosecutor is following the grand jury and all of the processes that are played out in the criminal justice system. I don't touch every one of those systems. What I do is enforce laws, and I stand for law enforcement. I stand for transparency. My opinion of the case is a professional one, and my opinion is we, as law enforcement officers, will continue to do our job. We understand that there are crimes that get committed, and they're heinous crimes. And they're crimes that elicit emotion from the public. They're crimes that there are people in the public want to see justice. And we are here to be transparent about our actions, but I do not deliver opinions as far as guilt or innocence. That is not my job.
Yesterday in court, the prosecutor said there was a big mental health question mark. Was that taken, have you guys reviewed his mental health background, and was that taken into consideration when you guys were adding that death penalty?
We have no evidence that's been submitted to us about any mental health issues.
All right, you guys, one more question. I have to let Charmaine get to the visitation.
I guess when do you anticipate discussing the other aspect of this regarding the Hinton, the shooting of Hinton, and the police investigation with that? I guess
Well,
the CPD investigation on that.
That's still being investigated, so I have no information to share with you on that yet.
Just 2 counts, can you explain, there's 2 counts against the one person?
Yeah.
Explain why.
Yeah, so that the facts of this case, we felt were answered by 2 different provisions in the criminal code. Both provisions for this type of aggravated murder are directed for instances when the victim is a law enforcement officer and the defendant either knew or should have known, in plain speak, should have known, or everybody thinks they should have known, is a law enforcement officer. So that carries for both different provisions. Then it changes. So in one provision of the revised code, the death is happening while the victim is performing his duties. The second provision of the Ohio Revised Code that we think these facts fit is that the murder happens because the defendant was looking to kill a police officer. And I believe and instructed my staff to follow these facts exactly and pursue both different sections.
When you say hunted down, you just said that he was looking to kill a police officer. Do you have any ideas or suspicions as to why he returned to the parking lot of the CIS building?
Well, that obviously I'm not in his brain, but one can conclude from observing these facts that he drove around the block and he went back into the parking lot for a minute. Why else would he go back there? Yeah.
We really appreciate
Okay.
it.
Yeah, we got to let Charmaine go.
There's been a lot of facts out in this case. We're going to let the rest of this play out in the trial. I think you can all agree between courtroom A, which you were all at in today, this is a very robust set of facts for this case before the trial even begins, so we'll let the trial play out.
Thank you, everyone.
So now that you know the official details, the official story, now that you have the official timeline of what happened, I want you to allow it to really sink in, really register the fact that Karmelo Anthony supporters are supporting this as well. And they're not just supporting Rodney Hinton, they are celebrating him like a hero. In fact, all over social media, they are calling him a hero, the father of the year. So this Karmelo Anthony situation that we were dealing with over the past couple of weeks, it's not a one-off. It's not unique. I think some people really thought that it was a debate over self-defense laws. Some people were foolish enough to believe that it was really an argument about self-defense or not self-defense. No. These people don't care about self-defense or not self-defense. Did Rodney Hinton Jr. act out of self-defense? No. It's not about self-defense, people. With Karmelo, it was never about self-defense. It's about celebrating the senseless unalivings of white people. That's all it's about. And every single story, like this one, like the Karmelo story, they'll find some sort of angle, some sort of reason to celebrate the white person getting killed while lifting the murderer on their shoulders and parading him around town like he's the hero of the story. Like he's also the victim of the story. They will do this time and time again. I guess people have not been paying attention over recent years, but hopefully, maybe, just maybe, you're paying attention now. Maybe Karmelo wasn't enough. Maybe it takes this story. But the craziest part about this information that was revealed for me is that the dude's entire family is like riding behind him, following him, and they kind of watch all of this play out. That is insane. And like, I'm wondering, like, did the family who was following, did they have any idea that this dude was about to crash out and go ham-tageous? Did they have any idea that he was planning on doing something stupid? I don't necessarily believe that they did, but it's just crazy that they're kind of like following him the entire time. He goes and circles around the police precinct, so he's looking for a different officer. I guess he doesn't find one, and then he just goes and mows over the most vulnerable target that he could find. At a graduation, mind you, where there are people there for their kids who are graduating. Now, if Rodney Hinton Jr. was really the father of the year, he would be at some sort of graduation event with his son. But Rodney Hinton Jr. wasn't the best father out there, which is why his son was riding around in stolen cars with GUNs. Rodney Hinton should have been at graduation with his son. But instead, he's mowing down innocent, off-duty, retired police officers who are working the crosswalk to make sure that people get across the street safely. Instead of being at graduation with his son is no longer with us, and now Rodney's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. And as you heard, sounds like he may get the death penalty. Yet this is what this culture is celebrating. This is what the Karmelo Anthony supporters are celebrating. And I don't know if they realize it, that like y'all are celebrating your heroes meeting I don't even know how to explain it, but you guys are celebrating as your heroes kind of like meet their demise, right? Yeah, Rodney Hinton Jr. he's a hero. Yeah, well, he's about to go to jail for the rest of his life and maybe get the death penalty. Karmelo Anthony is a hero. We stand with him. Yeah, well, he's going to go to jail for a long time. Do you guys want to share a bunk with them or something? Because that's what it sounds like. The way some of these people get behind these killers, it's like, are y'all kind of, I don't know. It gets kind of weird, the admiration that they show for these people. It's like almost as if they are their father figures. Like Rodney Hinton Jr. as the father figure for so many people out there who are viewing him as a hero. But they celebrate these people all the way to an early grave or a jail cell. And then they're no longer there for them. And then the process is repeated over and over again. And just like I explained with the Karmelo Anthony story, once again, with the Rodney Hinton situation, the message is being sent out there that, hey, go and kill an innocent white person, and this entire community will treat you like a hero. Maybe you've never been noticed. Maybe you've never been recognized for anything. Maybe no one ever gave you a hug or a pat on the back or said any inspirational words to you. But you go out there and kill an innocent white person, like I said, they'll put you on their shoulders like a little kid at a parade, and they'll bounce you around and celebrate you until you get the death penalty or wind up 6 feet under from some type of gang violence. So, I mean, it's a revolving door of violence, but I just feel like over the past few weeks, it does feel like things have gotten almost more intense. And maybe it's just because a lot of people are paying attention right now that weren't paying attention before. Because this celebration of like murderers and stuff, I've been watching this go on for a long time. It's just that these recent cases, they've really brought in an audience of people who I guess were unaware or they just weren't paying attention to their surroundings. Now, as far as all of the insanity stuff goes, look, this is just an excuse that they're trying to throw out there to wiggle away from, the full extent of the law being used against Rodney. I've seen this recently in other cases involving innocent white people that were killed by black people. Often these woke judges will allow them to they'll say, oh, you're not fit to stand trial and all this other stuff. So they're trying to pull that same nonsense here. Rodney Hinton Jr., what he did was crazy, but he is not insane. He knew exactly what he was doing. And it seems to me like there was a lot of thought put into what he was going to do before he did it. And he still had every opportunity as he rode around in his car looking for an officer to run over. He had every opportunity to change his mind, to make a different decision. But no, he did what he did, and he needs to be held accountable for what he did. It's really that simple. I don't see why. Once again, this is a clear-cut case of, oh, you just went and mowed down an innocent police officer for no reason. So, I mean, once again, we have a simple case that is stirring up so much debate. And once again, we have to explain to people that, hey, you can't just murder random white people because you're upset or you feel disrespected or whatever. But that's the argument that a lot of people are using. They're saying, hey, it doesn't matter who he killed. What matters is the father was really angry, okay? You got to understand how angry the father was. I don't care how angry the father was. That doesn't mean you go kill an innocent person. And that should be a given. But of course, like I've been saying, there's a culture here that celebrates the worst stuff imaginable. Until it happens to them, then they, play victim over words. But with all of that being said, you guys let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.